Continuing along with our discussion of industry analysis, we're now going to look at the last three factors that you're responsible for in this class. Key success factors, or using their acronym, KSF, drivers of change, and industry attractiveness. Again, there's 7 steps in an industry analysis, but we're going to have you responsible for the first 3 and the last 2. Again, as we talked about using our model, we're going to look at an industry, look at a company or firm analysis, the company situation. Using those 2 models, we're going to identify strategic options for a company, and among those then, we'll select the best strategy for the firm. So the better job we can do with our industry and firm analyses will give us a better job of making good strategic choices. So if we think about drivers of change, what's going on in industry? What will change the industry conditions in the next couple of years? Industries change because these 5 forces we talked about, as firms compete, they all change their actions as they think about competition. And these driving forces are the major underlying causes of changing industry and competitive conditions. So as we think about common types of industry forces, things that change a long-term industry growth rate. So we're talking right now among the food economy, all the number of people that are going to be on this earth. And you pick the number, 7 billion, 8 billion, 9 billion, whatever that number is going to be. Long term, there's going to be a lot more people on earth than there are right now. And we know that in general, they consume more protein in the future. As incomes go up, they will consume more protein. Protein comes from animals, it can come from plants, or increasingly, we're looking at things in the cell. So in the food economy, we know long term, people are going to consume more calories, and we'll have more people consuming those calories. How they buy the product and how they use it. So as family sizes get smaller, as we see maybe multiple generations in a family, some individuals in a city might shop daily. They might walk or take a bus to a supermarket and buy daily. Other people might buy just once a week. So the size of the refrigerator, whether they live in a small apartment or big apartment, a large condominium, a small condominium, a big house with a big freezer chest and a big refrigerator, all those are things, as we think about population, are people going to be living in smaller homes in the future or bigger homes? Right now, it appears to be, as property gets more expensive, that people are downsizing and having less square feet in their homes, which implies that their refrigerators will be smaller. Product innovation. So, are we changing the way what the products are? The move to more of a health or wellness in our foods is really causing companies to embark on major food reformulation strategies. Looking at using organic inputs in their foods. Looking at trying to find nutraceuticals. Trying to find ways to use more functional foods to try to improve the health and wellness of individuals by using their foods. Technological change and process innovation. We haven't seen major technological change, although we did, the issue of artificial intelligence and the use of robots are changing warehousing spaces and some of the logistical type features. Those ultimately will have an impact on our food economy chain. I just don't know right now in 2019 how those things are going to change. Marketing innovation, social media, digital media coupons, for example, versus paper coupons. The ability to instantly connect with people through loyalty programs. All of these are different marketing innovations that have happened in recent years relative to 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. Entry and exit of major firms. We've seen major consolidation in retail grocery stores, major consolidation among food wholesalers, major consolidation among food manufacturers, and we're even seeing on the producer side larger and larger farms, as measured by acres, number of milk cows. Diffusion of technical knowledge. How are we able to find technical knowledge to make something? Things are becoming more and more easy today for people to reverse engineer things and understand how something was made. So these types of driving forces are things to look about. Another set are things such as globalization. As we move to a rules-based trading system between 1996 and 2016, we saw more globalization. It's unclear now in 2019 and 2020 whether we'll see the same impact, but the food industry was very much positively impacted by this move to a rules-based trading system and more globalization in food trade. Changes in cost and efficiency. So if we're able to become lower cost quickly and more efficient, that will change an industry because people will try to mimic those costs. If we're shifting from standardized, differentiated products. So again, as we think about monopolistic competition, more and more firms in the food economy are trying to differentiate their products somehow. How can we make our food have a low sodium variety versus a regular variety? A box of cereal with what we might call legacy, which might have the artificial colors, and something that's a new product that might have organic products, no natural or no artificial flavors, no artificial colors. That's a different way of innovation when it comes to differentiated products. We might sell those side by side in the grocery store. New regulatory policies or government legislation. We talked about this on the module on economic traits. The $15 labor law is causing major issues. The Food Safety Modernization Act that was enacted by Congress in 2015. That's dramatically changing the way we think about regulation of food safety and quality. Changing societal concerns, attitudes, and lifestyles. People are delaying getting married, delaying having children. As baby boomers get older and maybe downsize their operation. All of these things have changes in our food economy, and those are things that you probably can think about as we think about these driving forces. Changes in degree of uncertainty and risk. Certainly the trade war with China, India, European Union, Japan, Mexico and Canada, South Korea, Vietnam. All of these things had impacts on our food economy in 2017, in 2018, 2019, 2020. That dramatically changed that because people did not expect our moving away from a rules-based trading system and to the one with the executive branch of government imposing tariffs on all these countries to get them to change certain behaviors. So that's the discussion on drivers of change. Now we're going to move to a second type step in industry analysis. These are the KSFs, or key and success factors. The three questions that we often look at in this is, how do customers choose between competing brands of sellers? As we think about switching costs, how do I choose? Is this simply based on price, logistics, services, the overall portfolio of things they're selling? How do people buy? What do we need to be competitively successful? So as a seller, what does it take to succeed in this industry? Do I have to vertically integrate backwards and have more control over my inputs? Or can I get that done through contracts or just buy it in the open market? What does it take to become a sustainable competitive advantage? Are there patents, trademarks, things that we have that can give us longer-term competitive advantage? And so part of the key success factors are to identify the really major determinants of financial and competitive success in an industry, and it starts by our answers to these three questions. So here are some different types. We're not going to go through these in any great depth, but technology related. Our research and development. How can we provide solutions to our buyers? Manufacturing related. Can we become low cost? Do we have the flexibility to make lots of different products? Are we able to use our fixed assets very efficiently? Can we run our plants at full capacity? Distribution related KSFs. Do we have lots of space? Do we have franchise operations or company-owned retail outlets? What type of logistics programs do we use? Do we use fast delivery programs where we allow the customer to choose one-day delivery, same-day delivery, two-day delivery, or something longer? or do we just promise them a delivery and it shows up when it shows up? Marketing related key success factors. What type of things do we have? Do we have someone answer the phone, or do we have someone that we're using some type of artificial intelligence? How do we fill orders? Do we do it online? Do we do it with paper, fax machines? All these things are marketing related key success factors. What's our skills look like? Do we have a workforce talent? Are we, if you look at the confectionery industry, we have one firm that is well known for paying their employees much higher than other confectionery firms. But in doing so, they argue we've got very talented people. The return from those people is very good. So we want to be able to pay them and give them superior salaries, because we know the certain type of people we need, they're going to work hard. Our organizational capabilities. How hierarchical are we? How many people does it take to sign off on a decision? How do we use the digital world? New technologies like blockchain. Finally, there's other types of key success factors. What's our reputation with buyers? Are we overall low cost? Do we have locations? If you think about fast food chains, where McDonald's will build a location is much different than maybe what their competition does. Gas stations, easy on-off ramps. What about our employees? How pleasant and courteous are they? Do we have good access to capital for our liquidity issues? So we talked about the key success factors. We talked about the drivers of change. Now the final step in an industry analysis is, how attractive is this industry? What's the market size and growth rate? So this is summarizing all the other steps that we've already done. We've done the research on the dominant economic traits. We've gone through a 5 forces model. We've gone through drivers of change. We've gone through key success factors. What did all of those things tell us to determine whether or not the industry we're in, or an industry that we want to look at going into, is attractive for our strategy? So all of these things, from a summary basis, will help us understand whether or not this industry is something that's attractive or unattractive. So as we do that, to come up with some type of an attractiveness, we have to make sure and do a really good job on the first steps, the first 6 steps in the industry analysis. Do these fairly often. A lot of firms do this every year. We try to understand, will this be attractive to a new entrant, or are we going to see people leaving? Or can we increase our market share in this industry? So as we think about all these things in industry analysis, going through the process in a logical way, getting as much information as we can, will help us make a good strategy and choose those from a list of options that we come up with. We're now going to turn our attention to the firm analysis.